Okay, hi guys, I'm back. This is Steve. If you haven't been watching my channel, welcome to it. This channel focuses on a lot of things in general, but one of the bigger things I'm doing with these kind of video sessions is focusing on the Atari 8-bit computer. I actually have an 800 XL that I use for my demonstrations. And what you're looking at is actually an opportunity to really learn a lot about the Atari in general. If you want to be able to program games and stuff like that, this is definitely the place to be, because I've got a lot of experience. I've actually played with the Atari computer. Got one back in 1986, and I played with it probably for about 4 years or so. Went from basic all the way straight to assembly language, and pretty much mastered everything I could get my hands on. Some of the few things I did not master in those days was still learning how to print numbers in assembly and stuff like fine scrolling. And I'm actually thrilled to go ahead and soon announce that that's going to be no longer be an issue, because I've actually made some breakthroughs recently. I've got a new program I'm going to show you today. It's a game that I've actually typed in from a book here. Right here, it's called the Atari Collection. I ordered this online not too long ago for about $11. And the game is actually called Tanks, so it's basically a full screen scrolling. Well, it does the vertical scrolling, so it's going to show you a little bit about that. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and run the game so you can kind of get an idea of what it does. And if you're following the video recently, that's actually known as Atari Basic to Assembly, this is the next session, because what we're going to be doing, I'm going to teach you how to do, is take a machine language program that's just basically made up of data statements and basic code together, and we're going to take apart the machine language. I actually spent a whole day doing it on this program. It took a long time because I actually had to sit there and go through and kind of write it all out. I mean, this is just one small part of it, but it goes on for several pages here. It goes on to this page, and this is all of my own work, and it goes on the back here, and it even goes on to the next page after this, and then it continues on back here. And even extra, I ran out of room, so I actually had to, it's probably maybe about 8 pages in length. I mean, it's a lot of work. Most people say what you could actually do in this case is get a disassembler and just kind of pick apart the code that way. But what I like to do is a different approach. I actually like to take all the statements in general, and I'll run the program here in just a minute. And you see those numbers to the side. This is 104, 133, 204. Those are actually the decimal equivalents for the machine language instructions you're seeing beside them there. Like if you look on the right there, you'll see what says store 204. The instruction code for that is 133.204, so that two-part instruction makes up that store code. So once you learn how to do this, you can actually take apart any program and see actually what's going on with that program in general. If it's a machine language, some kind of a move routine, some kind of maybe cool graphics or moving players really fast, you can actually learn to do that by taking apart the program. And that's what I want to show you today. We're going to have a lot of fun with this. We're going to hack it apart and do some pretty cool stuff here. So let me get this running. It'll take a second to run this thing. I did add a speed up routine to it, but it doesn't seem to be speeding up the game much more than I thought it would. I actually set up my own machine language routine that basically moves the character set a little bit faster. And this is kind of lopsided. There goes my camera acting all weird again. For those who don't already know, this camera I have is really strange in general. It'll take a second to run it. Okay, here it goes. What it's just doing right now is a setup of display list in memory. And that's what you're seeing here. This is actually a display list. If you watch my display list videos, you can learn a little bit more about that. And we'll kind of run the game. Once you move the joystick, the tank appears here at the bottom. You see that little red one going across there? It's a tank simulation, but it's also a scroller. So watch this, how it kind of started here. See how it's scrolling up the screen here? Oops, I died already. The movement goes faster from left to right. I could show you later in the code where that is. And basically the general idea is to shoot these, you'll see the tanks come over to the side, and you'll also have to avoid the obstacles here and shoot the little planes that traverse across the screen. There goes one. Kind of hard to hit them. This is a player missile graphic here moving. The plane is another player missile graphic. Oop, and there goes the tank. He's another player missile graphic. And these are just regular characters set in the background on in-screen memory, basically. And that's about it on this one. I want to run this a little bit longer just so you can kind of get an idea and a feel for this game, because when we start taking apart the code, you'll see what I'm going to do. We're going to start, oops, how did I die already? We're going to start controlling the tanks that come over to the side. Notice and pay attention right, oh, I'm like running in the opposite place here. Watch when the tank comes over to the side. I'll kind of get in the center here again. because we're going to change some things with that. There's the plane right there. Okay, now watch how far you can come over. Oops. Notice he can come over here. Later we're going to stop him so he can't come over very far. We're going to manipulate the machine code. This one says to press start. Now I'm going to show you some other cool stuff we can do. I've also learned how to scroll the screen backward. Instead of going up the screen, we can make it go down. Do stuff like that. And this, again, it's just an idea to show you how to start taking apart your own programs and kind of learn from them. Whoops. It's kind of like hard to watch the camera and play this at the same time. It's because, see, you move so fast here. That's because there's 3 decrements going into your position in the assembly code. This right here mostly is an assembly program. Oh, well, I think that's it for that one. You see how it kind of scrolls up? You can't scroll down in this one. It won't let you go down or anything like that. But it allows you to scroll up the screen. This is all basic stuff right in here. This is not the assembly part. When you get to the top here, it kind of just resets when you're in the game. But because we're not in the game yet and we died, you have to restart it. Oops. Okay, so here goes the tank. Now watch what... If I can just do this without dying, I wanted to show you. Okay, I'm going to get over here and try not to die this time. Okay, see how far he's coming over? This one is traveled here, so they can travel the whole length of the screen. So we're gonna start controlling. We're gonna stop how far they can move over. We're also gonna do funny things. We're gonna reverse directions on the joystick and just do things in general. I'm gonna go into the code now so I can show you how that's actually done. But that just gives you an idea of what the game is doing in general. So here's the program. Again, this is not mine, but we're going to be taking it apart. I've already done that. This is some of the machine code in here. And this is some more machine code. The easiest way to kind of spot machine code too is to look at the numbers. Once you kind of get used to them, you can kind of see the instructions. Like I could see load the accumulator load the Y register with 255, decrement the Y register, branches not equal, go back to this location at 253. And you can kind of start seeing the instructions once you get good. This is decrement the X register, load the accumulator with a 1, store it in a certain memory location, load the accumulator with 0, and store, this is called indirect Y, into 205, which is used for low and or high and low bytes. Decrement the Y register. See, you'll eventually be able to start doing stuff like that. Store, this is actually store 0 page into 205. And then down here is the program. That is one I took apart. This is actually the bigger one. This one is really long. Watch. This is all machine code program in here. Watch. It goes from 610, and here's how far you can see it's reading from 1 to 1117. Watch how long this thing is. Pretty intense. It's all machine code. Right there. So it goes up to there, and this is just builds a display that's down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start going into it, and we'll start taking it apart. As I showed you earlier, this little sheet that I've created here, this is actually what gets you started. And I also wanted to go over a few other points here that is of importance if you want to do this. I kind of wrote these down in general. Basically, we've gone over the first thing, which is you want to take the whole program and disassemble it and write it out like this on paper. And then next, you want to use, where's that book at? Here? Right here. I showed this in several videos, but you want to use this book for a map of the Atari because this has all the locations where you can look up information in memory if you haven't seen these before. Like there's the boot, what's that called? The boot something. Right, boot record or something, 705 for flags and stuff like that. You'll have all the locations that you can use to look up when you need to search locations in here, basically. So that's step 2. And, oh, I'm sorry, that was actually step 1. It was kind of merged into one. The next thing I'm going to do is I wrote down here, you should make sure to put the line number next to each start of a line in the assembly code. Let me kind of demonstrate that. Let me go back to the code here again. That's good right there. Okay, so these are the line numbers in the basic program. And what I mean by that, I'm going to show you this again, so bear with me a second. Look here. Where's my pen when I need it? And you see, if you look here at the top here, see that number 610, that's the line number. And if you go down here, you'll see the next line number 620. You always want to write them in those sections of code. Like for example, everything in this 610 would be included in with that line number. That way, when you're ready to go you're ready to go ahead and start picking apart the program, you know exactly which lines to go to. You see some more of the line numbers there at the top. Right here, where's that? There's 640 right there. And you'll see them. I just kind of write them beside them. See 650 right there, 660, and then they kind of go on the back here. Actually, wait. Oh, I didn't flip over the page. So they go on the back here. This one, you can't see it's in the corner there, but it says, I think it says 670, yeah, 680. And they're kind of written out that way. And then it takes a long time to write out the code, like I said, but once you start doing this and you start writing down the line numbers, you'll know exactly where to go ahead and pick apart the program. I'm going to hold this up for a second because I wanted to explain the next part here. I think it goes into the next part here. Let me read this for a second here. Yeah, I went over the map in the Atari book. That would actually be the next one. Okay. Alright, well, I'm going to add this into kind of this section here. You see right here, let me kind of look on here for a second. You see this right here? Right there, I have a little comment. Let me kind of zero it in here a little bit. Hold the book up and the camera is not easy. You see right there where it says X position of enemy tank, clear collision, and down here it says clear F1. And you see those comments beside it. See the one that says aircraft, enemy tank? So once you start figuring out what locations do, right beside them, what that location is actually tied to. Like that 53-249 is the position of the aircraft. The 53-250 is the enemy position. And once you start doing this and you go to look at your program again, you're going to understand it that much more. Let me see what I have on the back here. See right there, I wrote shoot, fire. That's the fire button. Over here, I think the joystick. Oh no, here's the bullets. If you look way over here, those are right here up in the corner. Right there. See what it says bullet? I'll move it a little bit this way now. You can read the comments. See it says bullet range. That controls the bullets that you're shooting out your gun and stuff like that. And keep in mind again, this is just coming from the machine code that you saw in the background right here. So we've disassembled it basically. Okay, that's one of the other steps. Now the other thing you want to do is you want to check your basic program in general. A lot of times you can get clues inside the program itself. Now, where did my book go again? Here, I'm going to go to that page to show you where the tank is. Here's the game. It's called Tank, as you've already seen. And if you go inside, sometimes if you read inside these books, like the computer books or in general, they'll kind of tell you almost even what the code's doing. This one doesn't actually list the machine code, but it kind of gives some hints on it. Let me go to this page actually, right here. I think this is it. I'm trying to hold this up to the camera. Right there it says, oh, come on. The main machine language routine is stored as a string of characters labeled E string. Machine language routine is relocatable. And it says the rest of the machine language code located on page 6 of memory is not relocatable. It includes the vertical blank, and this kind of tells you what that's doing, and explosion subroutines as well as the data for the player shapes. And also use the absolute address and access this player data, blah blah blah. So basically, that will kind of tell you where you might be able to find stuff and what the machine language is doing if you're running into statements and you don't know what they mean. A lot of times it's just a lot of practice and playing with stuff. Initially, basically manipulating the numbers and kind of changing them. That's how you can kind of learn. So let me kind of show you what I was talking about here. I'm going to find a section that shows where it all starts happening. And it's right down here. What we're doing is we're looking for machine language calls or anything related to like poke statements. See this poke 1786,0. This is being used by one of the machine language programs. Now I still haven't figured out what this location does yet. I'm still probably working on that one. This one kind of gave you already exactly what it kind of hints at it right here. It's poke 1777, DIF. So this is probably the difficulty just by looking at it. And if you look here, you can get the parameters for the machine code here. You can kind of read them in here sometimes and find them too. This one is showing RAM top, so this is basically moving the memory around. I believe this one, no, this is clearing the memory, so it's clear right there. They kind of hinted at it. This sets up a play field. The one I wanted to show you, I think, was down here. This draws all the stuff you see on the screen, the obstacles. It's right here. So it says D equals USR address E strings plus 24. So this line right here, DL plus 7, this is setting up the display list. And this is actually setting up a player, BP0. This is actually coming from the, if I go back here, I'll show you that one now. Just going down too far. There's a 300 here. Let me stop it right here. Okay, so up here, BP0 is equal to player missile base. And if you look at my player missile graphics video I have for the Atari here, you'll understand that this player missile graphics is actually stored in here. This is relocating it inside of memory and moving it up. And this actually is where they're storing a variable directly inside to access 1024. If you remember that number from either video, that's accessing player 0, and this one I think would be player 1 and so on. And basically what I wanted to show you that is if you go back to the machine code here, which I think was at 400. Looks like it didn't all fit on, I don't think it fit on the same screen here. Now it did, it's down here. Right here. This is storing the player right there, the BP0. And then the player missile base right there is storing the base address of the player missile graphics. And this SM-239 is storing the screen plotting, the stuff you see on the screen and stuff like that. So that kind of gives you a hint again what may be going on in the machine code after you've dissected it and looked at it. You might be able to go back and look up those addresses. Let me kind of pull back my notes here and show you what I'm talking about with that. Keep in mind, anytime you see like a USR like this and you see commas here, these are parameters broken down in assembly, and they're actually accessed directly inside the memory. What you do is you look at the very beginning here. Usually you can find them very quickly there. They're identified by looking through what's called a pull statement here. Actually, this is the one I wanted to show you right here. You see right there where it says pull and it says 204, 203, 206, 205. That's exactly where it's getting those. If you look beside it, I actually wrote there DL plus 7. That's the one we just saw on the screen here. Right down here is BP0, which would be the next one in line, and PMB. And scroll field down there, SM-239. So that's basically picking up the graphics, which is drawn right there on the high and the low bytes. That's kind of how you can find it and look for the parameters and stuff like that. So like I said, you would go through and look for all the pokes and stuff like that and anything related to assembly calls to kind of hint at what these locations may be doing. Okay, so I wanted to see what else I had in my notes here. Give me 1 second here. I think I kind of went over most of this. Oh, okay, so the next thing I wrote down here is when you come across a data statement that's containing this location, you can kind of find out what's going on with it. And you would actually go in and change stuff inside that actual statement. What we're going to be doing that very shortly. So that's kind of leads into the next step here, which is exactly what we wanted to do. We wanted to start taking apart this program, right, and make it do our own thing. So, like I said, I'm not going to hold this up the entire time. I mean, if you want to, you can. I can kind of hold up each page if you want to see it. But basically, in general here. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it up once I located what we're going to go ahead and change and kind of show you in the program. I could easily change colors and stuff like that. I don't think that would be very beneficial in this case. We want to try to do something a little more advanced. Something that's not easily done by a beginner. I always like that kind of challenge, kind of going beyond. Let's see, player tank here. Joystick. This choice controls the joystick. Draw player. I had one here. I'm looking for the locations of that enemy tank. Like I said earlier, we're going to try to stop how far it can move over. If I can only recall where I have it, here's the enemy position of the tank. Version player 1. Probably back here. Give me just 1 minute here. I think it's on the second page. This is all the sound. You heard in the game all the sound and stuff like that. That's all controlled directly inside of here too. This one is mostly a complete 100% assembly program except for the basic equivalents they have. Size of the player tank. There's the random values. I'll probably be missing it somewhere. It's probably right over here. And what we're going to be doing is, like I said, we're going to be going through these data statements here, and we're going to start changing these numbers in just a minute. As soon as I can catch myself back up here. Just kind of read through it a little bit here. Player tank, player tank. I guess I should be a little bit more prepared on this one. Let's see, this one shows the player tank's right limit. I think this is it right here. This one actually right here we could change, but this actually will prevent how far I can move my joystick over to a position. I wanted to show you the enemy since that's the one I talked about, and I wish I could find it here. Let's see, bullets. Size of the player tank, it's got to be on this page. Number 6, random value. Here's X position of the enemy tank. A bunch of compares going down here. It might be on this page. Let me look in the back. I wrote some notes here too. Tank bullet. Sometimes I wish I could stop these videos when I'm trying to look up something. But I think for starters, we'll just change the color for now, since I already know where that is, and then we'll kind of move on to the other stuff. As we're running the program, I'll have time to look this over, and I don't have to waste your time here. So, the colors are stored here closer to the beginning. According to my notes here, they're actually found at line 650. 650. And what you're looking for is you're looking for colors like this, with this number, 710. This would control the screen. I'm sorry, you know, that's not the right one, I'm sorry. The player missile graphics would be 704, actually. So 704, we're looking for this number here. And what you do is you go through here. It's actually right here, though. You usually look for something like a 141 store location. And usually it's easier to find it with like an immediate number before it'll say like load accumulator with this value or such. So these go all the way back to load accumulator 0. So these are basically zeroing out the colors. So this might not be where I want to start. Let's see, 160, it's right here. It's on 650, I know it is, I'm looking at it. 116. Maybe it's on 660 because I'm looking right at it. Let's see, let's kind of convert some of these and look at them. I think it's right here, 52, I see it. Ah, there it is, 705, 706. So we'll change our color first. Our color is stored right here, so 169, 116 means load the accumulator with the immediate value of 116 and store 192 plus 2. I think that's, it certainly looks like it. Let's see. And here's how you calculate it. So that's the 704. That's the number we're looking for. So we don't want to change the number 704 because we don't want to move the location to any other value. We just want to change the number for it. So in this case, our tank is this blue color. We would change that 116 to something else. We can make it close to the enemy. Let's make it like maybe 30 or something like that. Might be a weird color, but and then we'll also go ahead and we'll change the enemy tank, which is actually right here. I just saw it. 30. Let's see, 38. According to my notes here, that's the enemy aircraft. We could change the plane too, and then the tank is right here, 52. So this is the red color. We would just go in and change that one. So I'm going to make it like 152 or something. We'll run that and see how that goes. Like I said, I'm going to look up the limits while this thing's running. Try to save some time here. Here's a joystick position. I just found it, so we'll be able to do that on the next run here. My notes are so small I couldn't really read it. Okay. And it did now. Takes a while to load this thing again. Okay, so now we're going to see if our plank has changed colors and also if the enemy has changed. We didn't change that one. I just changed the color of the tank. So, I'm going to start moving here. See, my color is now a different color, where before I was a blue. Now I'm some kind of a bright color because I changed it to a higher color. Oh no, I changed it to 40, so it's kind of like a yellow or something. We could also turn off the collisions. Maybe we'll do that later. Okay, so now you see the tank. He's blue. He was red earlier, if you recall. So we already altered. Well, this one's red. So this is actually one of the other tanks, and we changed just the one that comes out on the right only, or on the left. I'm sorry. So that's just the first thing. Now let's go kind of go over here. Wait for a tank to come here for a minute. Come on and get me. There he comes. Now, I was going to show you earlier. See how far he's going over here? We're going to stop how far they can move over. That's the next thing I want to do. Let's stop this. Okay, so according to my notes here, it's pretty close to the same line. No, I'm sorry, this one's actually in 720. 720, 730, so I don't miss it. And what I did is, another thing I wanted to show you before I do this, is when you find, like, here's the example of the line we're going to be changing. In general, looking up here in the code, let me kind of point out here for you first. 173.254,6, that's actually location 1790, and you see this 201, 190. That means compared to 190. So basically that means how far is that tank traveling over? He can travel over 190 spaces. So we're going to change that number so he gets stuck in a corner and he can't come after us. Because he can't shoot, all he can do is run into us. And here's the line in assembly, what that looks like. It's right over here. I really got to find my pen. Here it is. So much easier just to point this out with my pen. Okay, so basically, and try to hold this at the same time. Paper just wants to rattle here. Okay, so what we're looking at is right here. This location, see where it says 1789? That 1789 is the position of the tank moving. And load the Y register. This draws the tank in there. And you see right there is what I was just talking about. Load the camera 1790, compare 190. If branch is equal, we're going to go to a certain place. Otherwise, we're going to increment. So we're going to change that tank. Maybe we can also move him in a different direction. Okay, so what we're looking at again is the compare number. Where was it? I just saw it. It's 173. It's right here. So we're going to change this number right there. Go in and alter it. And you don't want to just go in and alter any values, because if you go in and change something like this, and it gets through the program and suddenly it can't branch out, it can crash the program. So make sure you're reading the assembly code and you have it written correctly. And for those who probably didn't follow my other assembly video or might be new this time, I wanted to show you, where did I just put it? Oh, right here. This book is actually called, it's actually the Antic version for 1985. And you can probably find this in other books, but in the back of this book, look right here, it has all the assembly code instructions and their decimal equivalents and how to look them up. And those numbers, for example, let's look up the one I just showed you. 201 is compare. So I kind of got to memorize right there. You see what it says 201, C9. It's actually kind of center it off here. You see it right there. It says 201, compare number NN. Okay, so that's the compare instruction. Compare just means check it to see if it hits a condition. It's like the if statement. If it hits a condition, do something. So this is checking for 190 spaces. Like I said, we're going to change this. Let's see something like maybe, I don't know, maybe 42 or something like that. Should probably stop him from moving. And we'll just do that one for now. And there's another enemy tank here moving too. Not sure which enemy tank we just changed. Let me look here again. I just wrote down enemy tank. I didn't write down which one it was. There's an increment 1790. Well, we'll change. I wanted to change the other line here. I think it's the increment 1790. I'm going to change that to a decrement, which is 206. So in this line right here, I'm trying to look up the, it's 238. So right here it says 238, 254.6 equivalents into increment 1790. Let me kind of show you that by translating the values here. Oops, I'm trying to that 254 plus 6 times 256. That shows you the location. And if you look up this value 238 in the back of this book I just showed you earlier, all the way on the end here, it's right down at the bottom here. Whoops, I'm on the wrong side. Right there, you see it says 238. It says EE increment AAAAA. So that's increment the value. So basically what that's doing is it's moving the tank forward. So the one that's actually going forward, this one's decremented. So this one, it is the same tank that we changed earlier. The one that's going forward is the one that comes out on the left. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move that in the opposite direction. So instead of increment it, we're going to decrement it. And it probably will never come on the screen. So the decrement for 238, right here, decrement value is, I already looked it up earlier, it's actually 206 in the book. So now if all goes well, that tank should do something pretty funny. Let's run it again here. I'm just double checking my work here. And that's what I was going to show you before the program runs here. I showed this earlier, but I want to make this vital importance that you understand here. Those numbers at the side there you see, oh boy, it's getting real close. You see all these numbers here on the side? Right here, over here, all these numbers here. And the pages are bending. You see all those numbers going down the page? Those are the machine equivalents. You want to write those down, and those are the numbers that we're changing right now. So if you look for the one I was showing you earlier here, the compare location, the 1790, the one we just changed was down here at the bottom where it says increment 1790, right there. I changed it to decrement 1790, and I changed the compare to 42. So let's see what he's doing here. Whoops. You know what? It's something did happen, but you probably won't see what actually happened. I just realized that that was my position it's changing. Watch. So it didn't change the enemy position, but when I moved the joystick over, it's moving me instead. I'm trying to go this way, I'm pressing this way, and it's moving me backward. That's because we changed the decrement for it. So it is still changing, it just wasn't changing the tank because we didn't cue into that one. As I said, I only had a second to look it up there, so let me see if I have written it down here anywhere. 1790 moves player tank. Oh, that's why. Aircraft left to right. 1785 is the aircraft. I don't think I found the tank location yet. That's why. Unless it's 1789. See, I haven't disassembled the entire program, just the various parts of it. So I'm still guessing at a lot of stuff here. Bullets. There's another thing we're going to do. We're going to skip ahead to this. And what I'm going to do next is, you see all these little obstacles on the screen? I'm going to add more of them on the screen. And that's all being done in assembly too. So that I got that looked up here. So let's first of all go back and convert what we had earlier back to what it was, so we can move correctly. Okay, so got that back the way it was. And the number of obstacles to change is in line, I think it's 770, 780. 770, 780. Okay, so what we're looking for here, and let me show you with the book again here. Boy, I got like no room to move around here. Okay, so right here, these are the ones that we're going to be changing. Right down here, you see where it says Advocary 1773, and if you go down farther here, it says Advocary 9 store 207, blah blah blah. Look over this side what I wrote here. Number of obstacles on the screen. So when I looked it up and I played with it earlier, that's what I found out it was doing. The way I guessed at it is because when you're setting up screen memory on the computer and it's drawing location, it's drawing stuff on the screen, to get them to go up and down the screen, it has to add with carry. To get them to go up, it has to subtract with carry. So basically, that's how I was able to look it up. I looked up where it was subtracting in the program, and then basically what we're going to do is, instead of in this location it add with carry, well, we're going to change the number of add with carry. We can probably change the subtract and see if that does anything weird too. But we're going to change that 9, which is actually right here. Add with carry 9. So what we're going to do is we're going to increase that number. Can you guess what's going to happen when we increase that number? Think of it right now. It's drawing 9 of them on the screen. It's adding 9 down. If I've done this correctly, it should increase the number of characters and obstacles on the screen. I was just seeing if there was anything else I needed to check here. So let's run that again. Whoops. Well, soon I'm going to look up some other stuff. There we go, program again. Oops, did I change? I don't know if I changed him or not. But so far I can't see what's going on. It's doing something though. I changed it to 99. Why does it gotta call you when you're busy? Well, let's go back to that line again and play with it and see if there's anything else I needed to change with this. Maybe I want to check my phone here. Okay. Okay, so what we did is we added with carry and we changed it to 99. Did I change the right line? Let me go back and check this again here. Oh, wrong lines. Okay, so this is the carry, this is the add with carry 99. This is store 207. Let's see. Load accumulator with 3 of them. Probably change the shape of the characters. Not sure why that obstacle thing didn't work. We probably have to change some other value or something. I changed it to 99 because it adds with carry 99. It probably just put a farther down on the screen. I'm going to try a few different things. I'm going to, instead of pushing the number so high this time, I'm going to change it to maybe something like 15. And then what we're going to do next is, if you look kind of like right beside it here, you see this 169.3. That means load the accumulator with the value of 3. Whatever it's putting on the screen is the number 3 object. Let's see if we can change that and see if it puts something funny looking on the screen. 103 or something like that. Now, load the Y register with 0. I'm trying to see if I can manipulate any of these X and Y registers. That isn't going to do anything. Well, let's run that one for now. Well, let's kind of do a few things to kind of take a few shortcuts here. I also wanted to change the bullets that are shooting on the screen here. And I have them down here at 790. And to show you again, it's right here in my notes. Oh, where's it at? Can't see this thing backward. I think it's over here. Right here at the corner, here at the top, see where it says load the accumulator 1789. I wrote BO action right, bullet range, compare 192. That's the 192 tells how far we're going to be able to shoot up, I believe so. And this bullet makes it travel up the screen, so it's decrementing, so it's moving up the screen. So let's change that and see what happens. And that is at 173,251, so it starts right here. This is load the accumulator with 1789. Remember, this is the high and the low byte. And this is I never wrote this one out. Store 428. Let's write it out here. I kind of skipped over what that instruction was. 53,252. 53,252. Compare it to see if it's 192, which is right beside it here. Just lost my place again here. Okay, 1, 0. Okay, so it's 790. Right here. Compare 60. No. This one down. Should be one before this. Give me 1 second here. 1649. You know what? It's in the line above this. That's why I can't find it. Oh, it's up here. 680. So it's right here. Compare 192. So we're going to change that 192 and try to make it so that it doesn't go all the way up the screen. Let's see if we change it to something like, I don't know, maybe 52 or something. See, that'll stop. What that's supposed to do is stop how far we can shoot up. I do believe that that's what this does. And the other one controls the bullet. Let's try that one, since we've already altered a few different things here. So let's run this again. I'm going to enter, make sure it's in there. But you get the idea of what's going on here is we're actually changing this program in machine code. But we're doing it straight within BASIC. While that's running, I'm going to look up some other stuff. I know how to change the size, but I didn't want to really go into detail with that kind of stuff. Oh, so next we'll do things with the aircraft too. I've got some things I can show you on that. Okay, so what it should do is it should prevent me from firing. Oh, you know what it did? Is it increased the size of my bullets. Earlier they were smaller, and increased the size of them. I just noticed that. See, when you shoot the plane, it shrinks your tank down here. So, oh no, it did work. Okay, so watch over here. I can't shoot anymore this way. Earlier, I could shoot this way and also move the location of my bullets there. But here, it won't let me shoot anymore because I only set it to go up to 52 places. So we've actually altered that. Now the next thing I want to show you is, see this plane moving on the screen? Watch it again. You see how far it's traveling? It's traveling all the way over here to the edge of the screen. Leave me alone. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to stop it from traveling so far. I'm going to stop it in the middle so it's easier to shoot it. And that's actually at 100, I believe. So let's go ahead and change that. That's in line 890. I'll show you again in here. My notes, so it's right here. I'm putting my finger on it so I can find it faster this way. Okay, so right there, you see where it says load the X-Rater 1785? I put ACX because that's the aircraft's location of X moving around. And that compare 225 right there is telling how far it can travel. So it can travel all the way across the screen from 0 to 225. So what we're going to do is we're going to alter that next. So, I'm looking in here in my notes again. So it's a 224, 225. So where's that? Right here. It goes off screen. See what it says 224, 225? So that's the number we're going to change right there. So I'm going to put it at 100, I believe. That's my location. And that should stop it from moving so far on the screen. I wanted to change one more thing. I like to try to do 2 at a time here. Kind of give you the benefit of the doubt. Expedition enemy tank. There's aircraft collisions. We can probably turn off collisions with that one. Let's see if I could change. I still wanted to find out where those enemy tanks locations are because I changed them the other day so that the tanks can't travel so far in the screen. And I was able to win it a lot faster that way. It really bugs me. I don't know what it is. So let me run this. Now I'll just probably come back to that and kind of speed this up for you guys. Okay, so remember what I said we're going to do is watch the plane now. Notice it's not able to travel very far now. Watch when it comes out again. Earlier it was able to go all the way across the screen. Now it can't. It can only go so far. We have a better shot at shooting it now. So I'm going to go over here and I should be able to shoot it easier. And when it comes up, it's not going to be able to go very... Oh, got these guys chasing me. Oh, it's too high now. It looks like it might even be harder to shoot it now. Leave me alone. Died again. Seems like I made this a little bit harder, didn't I? I think I'll probably have to set the location to go. I thought 100 would be far enough. Maybe 150 would do it. I'm going to stick over here again. See if I can shoot them. Oh, I ain't got no bullets over here. I got to turn my bullets back on too. So let me turn my bullets back on, and also I'm going to change the location of the plane, how far it can move over just a little bit more. So I got that looked up here again. I just had it. Obstacles, right here, bullet range. So line 790. I had 192. So what did I have here? 2 at 192. I had 60, so I need to change that back. This tells how far I can shoot. So now I can shoot all the way over to that direction. And then we're going to change the what was it again? The aircraft, how far it can fly. Is on this page. Knew I was going to lose it again here. But this thing is so huge. position, right movement. Here's on the second page. So here's the collisions. Maybe we can play with those next. Yeah, here it is. So it was line 890. So 890, to compare the X register, 224, 100. We're going to move this 100 up a little bit. I said maybe 150 would do it. Okay. Let me run this again. We're going to try maybe even changing the sounds. I've got the sounds here and see what that does too as well. Another thing while this is running I want to show you is right here. Do you see? Again. Do you see these numbers I wrote down here? Once you figure out what something does, write it down. Like I wrote 53, location 53,248 is the player's tank horizontal position. And the 53,249 is the flying aircraft. That's the horizontal position. This is the horizontal position for one of the enemy tanks. This one underneath it is the second one. I didn't write it in there. This 53,252, that's the tank bullets. And right down here, 53,256, these are the size. You can find these all in the map in Atari, but this just shows me exactly what they got in this game and what's doing what. Now down here is a little bit more advanced. You see what it says 1789 BULX? That's the bullet X location. And I had to do some research to find that. The 1790 is the player X position, so that moves our player around. The 1785, that's the aircraft moving left to right movement. So that's the kind of stuff you want to do. Once you find what these locations are doing, just kind of write them down within your notes here, and you can kind of go ahead and start changing stuff. Let me go ahead and see what's going on here now. So now the plane should be traveling over. Oh, I forgot to turn my bullets back on here too. Oops. I knew that I'd kill myself again. I want to remind myself here real quick, before we leave here, I want to show you the scrolling too. We're going to make it go in a vertical direction. So you notice the plane, he's traveling a little farther than he used to. He used to only travel like over here when we changed him early. Now he's traveling to kind of the center. Boy, I got to really learn how to turn that position back on. I have no defense on this side, so I can't shoot out to this side because I turned it off. And I wanted to look it up, but I didn't want to waste everybody's time while I'm trying to find that. But let me see if I can find it real quick here. I think next time I'm just going to write down the lines on paper before I do like a review of the video. And then I can go straight to those locations. But this is giving you hopefully a good idea to show you in simply how to go ahead and start changing stuff. And what you need to do to make that goal possible. So let's see, right movement, player, I think it's this one right here. So let me go back to line 720. Make sure that's it. Let's see. So earlier I changed the 190 in here. See if I put it back. Okay, I put that one back. It was the bullet I changed, that's right. This is just the movement of my joystick. The other one was the bullet. Here it is. It's in line 790. I think this is it. This is the one. I changed this 192 earlier. Nope, I still got the 192 in there. 53,260. That's in the next line. Maybe that wasn't the one. Now I'm kind of like totally lost of where I changed that. One thing you can also do is once something's not running, once you have it saved, you can just reload it. I'm just going to do that real quick here. Let's do that after we run this so we don't lose the change we just made. But it's going to be another long video. Half the time is waiting for this thing to load. So I think I'm going to jump into the scrolling real quick here, so I don't, because that was one of the things I wanted to show you, is I want to change the direction of the scrolling of the screen. Well, let me look that up here. It's actually in another program I wrote down here. Oh, it's at the very end here. Okay. this right here. So we still got the blue tank down here. And I'm going to die here. I'm going to kill this one thing past that. Let's see what's going on now. So I changed how far he can travel. There's still no defense on this side. Boy, he always wants to attack me from that side. No wonder I don't get anywhere with this. I'm so regretting that I turned that off. Okay, well, I can shoot him this way and I just died. Okay, well, anyways, since I couldn't fix that, let's just go ahead and reset this. I'm going to load it back in memory here. And then I'm going to go to some different lines here this time. And this is what I'll show you what I'm changing. This is going to be a little bit more intense. I'm looking at my notes again here. I wrote it in this one. Yeah, I wrote it in this one. I've been changing a lot of different things in the program. Okay, here it is. I'm going to keep track of this one and show you in the book. This is another book. I've written down some of my other things that I'm changing in the program. I'm going to pull this thing over and show it to you. You see this code right here? 173, 122. What we're going to be changing in this program actually controls the scrolling. See, it says vertical scroll going down. Basically, what this is doing is this is going to allow the program to scroll vertically instead of going down the screen instead of going up the screen. And right down here are the things that we want to pay attention to. You see that where it says, my pen out to make this a little bit easier. You see where it says compare 50? We're going to change that one. And down here it says compare 15. We're going to change those. In the program right now, we're going to change into what's showing here. In the program, I think this one shows 15 and this one shows 255 or something. We're going to change that. And also, over here in the corner, let me kind of move it over here a little bit. Where is it? In the corner, it's down here. See what it's out here at the bottom. See where it says advercary 20? We're going to change this advercary here. Oh boy, right here. Advercary, we're going to change that to a subtract number 20 so that we can kind of scroll the screen down. Now, I hope I wrote down the lines on this. I probably didn't. I know I wrote them down over here. Let's go look over here. I got my main notes over here. So that's at line 130 to 150. This one is a little bit more advanced because we're going to be changing several different things in the program. And if you're a beginner, I don't recommend going in this unless you really know what you're doing because you can easily crash your program. And anytime also when you go in and change anything in your code here, make sure you're always saving. You have your original code backed up somewhere. If you want to save a copy of your changes, you might want to save that once you get a good copy working. Otherwise, you can easily crash the program and lose all your data, all your hard work. So, we're looking for the 173.06 right here. 173.06. This instruction means right here is load the absolute value of the memory location at 1536. The 0 plus 6 times 256 equals to 1536. And this value right here we're going to change to what I changed it over here. Actually, I already got that one changed, so I don't need to mess with that one. I think it's down here. Compare 15 over here, so it's 255. Yeah, right here. We're going to change this one. This one actually says load the accumulator with 1537. 1 plus 6 times 256 equals 1537. And this is compare with 255, so we're going to change this number. Whoops. I think I just did that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse these. So earlier you saw that this other one said 255, this one shows 255, and the compare below it says this one shows 255. Let me show you, where's the other compare? Now look at my notes again. Let's see, 15, what came out 15. I'm looking for the other 201 here. You guys probably find it faster than I can. Maybe it's up here. Let me look at the notes here again, because kind of read this blindly and look in here is a little bit different than Trying to see what's going on here. So do I have all the lines on here? 150 on here. It's in line 140, it says. So maybe this is the same one. Oh, and this one's probably up here. Oh, 14. I'll bet that's it right there. You see 14. Right before this is 120, 2. Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to locate it on the page here where this is at 120, 2. It's so easy to sit there and go in and program. Okay, right there it is. I think, no, that's the compare 50. So that's the first compare. Now there should be another one here. Now here's 169, 2. Says it's right below this one. So that's this one. So we're going down further. So from this one, we're going to change this to 255. Like that. No, I'm sorry, no, 15. I don't trust that. I think I just erased something again. Okay, so we're going to change this to 15. Okay, we'll change that one to 15. And let me look up the other one here. Okay, so I'm looking for my jump. My jump's right here. 169, 15. It's right there, actually. Okay, so this is loading. I was looking for a compare, but actually I found out I'm not looking for a compare. I'm actually looking for the load that came there at 15, so I couldn't find it. So I'm going to change that 15, and we're going to reverse those two. Remember earlier this one up here was 255, so we're going to reverse this and make this one 255. And this is altering how the screen is going to scroll. So to reverse them, since the screen earlier was scrolling up the screen, that actually tells how far it's going. It's going up as high, it was going as high as 15 and as low as 255. So to get them to go down, you have to reverse them. And to make the screen scroll down, we have to change that line I showed you back here at the bottom. It's all the way down here at the bottom. You see where it says subtract, no, right there, subtract 0. We're going to change that to an add with carry 0. And then subtract 20 is going to become like add with carry 20. We're also going to change the SEC to a CLC, which means clear. And you would use clear. We use SEC for subtract and use CLC for adding. So we're going to change those. I know this is probably going to seem a little far-fetched for people. They'll be like, what are you talking about? But trust me, they'll all come together. So here's the 56. This SEC will now change to a CLC. And down here, here's the 233. So 233 is the lookup code for the subtract assembly code. We're going to change that one to add with carry, which is 105. So we only have to change both of those. And the other one's right here, 233.20. We're going to change that one to 105. Oops. Boy, I got to hurry up. This video is like almost an hour. I don't know if I can go over an hour on these or not. I'm going to find out. That's why I'm always watching my time. Okay, so I hope this works. Let's see. Add with carry 20. I'm looking at my notes here. Add with carry 0. Looks like everything would be correct. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this. Oh, and one more thing I also wanted to change here. At the top here, you see where it says 632. Come on. Compare 13. We're going to change that 13 to a 14 because 13 means press the joystick up. We're going to make it say press it down. So I'm going to change that. And that's in, which line is that in? That's in line 130. It's up here. So to compare in that line, that's 50. Should be up here somewhere. Right there, 14. That's going to change to a 13. Okay, so now if all goes well, we should be able to scroll when we press the joystick. I dropped it. When we press the joystick, up was originally to move the tank up the screen. Now if we press the joystick down, the screen should start scrolling down. It's not going to look correct. It's going to be kind of shaky, and it's not going to replot all the obstacles because we haven't changed any of that in the basic code. So let's run it again here. And just going to hit an hour very closely here. Wow. I like these videos. They actually show you the clock on it. This one, I said it was a Samsung, but that's actually my phone. It's actually an HP. So so squished in its corner. Okay, so let's see if it worked. It'll probably do something though. So if I'm pressing the joystick down, it's actually shaking the screen, but it's not moving down. There's probably something else I had to change in it. 255. Did I change both of those? I'll go back and look at the code. Yeah, there's 3. I just noticed there's 3 advocaries. I didn't change the other one. Let me go back and change that one. 130, 150. I think I forgot to change the other one. Looks like there was 2 on here, but I see 3 here. No, there's 2. Let's go back and look at this. That's the hard thing, is when you're trying to look at assembly and look at your notes. It's a totally different dinosaur. You kind of have to learn how to read it and stuff like that. You have to kind of follow what it's doing in the program. So I'm trying to see if this mimics. Oh, I know what it is. I think it's because I didn't change the decrement to the increment. Let's see. Ah, it's right here. It's actually at line 140 here. Where is it at? I just saw it. It says, well, line 140, 16. It's right here, 206.16. This 206 is originally saying decrement 1537. That's because we're moving up. We need to change that to an increment, which I believe is 238. This is going to be an extra long video, guys, so I'm just looking. Yes, 238. So let's change it to 238. I think that'll fix it. I'm still hoping these things go an hour in length. These YouTube videos for my channel. It said I can upload videos longer than 15 minutes, so I imagine that this would be okay. So let's see how this goes. It looks like my TV's ready to fall off this table. Well, hopefully we're successful and we can get the scrolling to go down this time. We'll see. Okay, so we're pressing down. Now the screen is scrolling up. Where earlier before, it was scrolling down. Now it's going off the screen. That's what will basically happen here. Oh no! What am I supposed to do now? I can't play the game. But you kind of get the idea. What we've done is we've done a lot of changes here today in the machine code. We've had some fun with it and just learn how to go in and manipulate memory and change stuff like that to your own use. And I think this is an advantage for people who really want to take a step up from basic programming and learn more about assembly and stuff like that, and just how to really, what's really cool is when you're actually getting into games and stuff like that, and you maybe typed in a game or loaded a game in an emulator, and you notice all these data statements are in, you know, arcane machine language, and you want to know what's going on. You want to be able to maybe even change stuff, maybe even set up removing the life counter so that you don't die and stuff like that. That's why it's an advantage to kind of learning assembly for the Atari computer. So I hope you enjoyed this session, but I'm going to have to cut it off right there. Subscribe if you're interested. It looks like the subscriptions are still piling in, so I really appreciate that. Have a good day.